Memory loss rarely announces itself. It doesn't arrive suddenly. It begins quietly, years, sometimes decades, before anyone notices. Long before a diagnosis. Long before fear has a name. It begins in small biological miscommunications. A neuron struggling to manage energy. A protein that folds incorrectly. An inflammatory signal that doesn't switch off. Alzheimer's disease is not a lightning strike. It is a slow-burning process, unfolding invisibly while life goes on. And the most unsettling truth modern science has uncovered is this: by the time memory visibly fails, the disease process is often already advanced. But there is another truth, equally powerful, and far more hopeful. The same science that explains how Alzheimer's develops also reveals how much influence we have over whether it takes hold. At the center of Alzheimer's is not memory itself, but metabolism. The brain, despite its complexity, is metabolically fragile. It depends on a constant, efficient supply of energy. Neurons cannot store fuel. They must generate it moment by moment. When that system falters, cognition suffers. This is why Alzheimer's has increasingly been described as a metabolic disease of the brain. Glucose is the brain's primary fuel, but it is not the only one. In healthy brains, metabolic flexibility allows neurons to shift between glucose and alternative fuels like ketones. In aging brains, especially those moving toward Alzheimer's, this flexibility is lost. Insulin signaling becomes impaired. Glucose uptake declines. Neurons starve in the middle of abundance. This energy crisis sets off a cascade. Mitochondria, the power generators inside neurons, become dysfunctional. Reactive oxygen species increase. Inflammation rises. Beta-amyloid plaques and tau tangles, often treated as the villains, accumulate not as causes, but as downstream consequences of cellular distress. They are signs of a system under pressure, not the origin of the collapse. And this is where prevention truly begins. Movement is one of the most powerful anti-Alzheimer's interventions ever studied. Regular aerobic and resistance exercise increases cerebral blood flow, enhances mitochondrial efficiency, and elevates brain-derived neurotrophic factor, BDNF, a molecule essential for memory formation and neuronal survival. Higher BDNF levels are consistently associated with reduced risk of cognitive decline. Every step, every lift, every intentional movement sends oxygen and nutrients to the brain, reinforcing neural networks before they weaken. Nutrition shapes the brain more than most people realize. Omega-3 fatty acids, particularly DHA, are structural components of neuronal membranes. Without them, synaptic communication falters. Polyphenol found in berries, green tea, and dark leafy vegetables reduce neuroinflammation and protect against oxidative damage. B vitamins support methylation pathways critical for neurotransmitter synthesis and DNA repair. These nutrients do not boost memory, in the superficial sense, they preserve the physical infrastructure of thought. Fasting and metabolic restraint introduce another layer of protection. During fasting, insulin levels drop, allowing the brain to access ketones. Ketones provide a cleaner, more efficient fuel source for neurons under stress. They also act as signaling molecules that reduce inflammation and enhance mitochondrial resilience. Studies show that ketogenic metabolism may bypass impaired glucose pathways in Alzheimer's-prone brains, restoring energy where it is most needed. Sleep is where memory is defended most aggressively. During deep sleep, the glymphatic system clears toxic waste from the brain, including beta amyloid. Chronic sleep deprivation prevents this clearance. The result is accumulation, fragmentation, interference. Sleep loss does not merely impair attention the next day, it accelerates neurodegeneration over years. Consistent sleep timing, sufficient duration, and protection of darkness are not luxuries. They are neurological safeguards. Light exposure orchestrates this process. Morning sunlight synchronizes circadian rhythms, improving nighttime melatonin release. Melatonin is not just a sleep hormone, it is a powerful antioxidant in the brain. Artificial light late at night suppresses it, weakening neural repair. The modern environment constantly disrupts this cycle. Alzheimer's risk rises where rhythm collapses. Chronic inflammation acts as fuel for neurodegeneration. It can originate from poor diet, unmanaged stress, sedentary behavior, or gut imbalance. The gut-brain axis plays a critical role here. An unhealthy microbiome produces inflammatory compounds that cross the blood-brain barrier, activating microglia, the brain's immune cells, in destructive ways. A nourished gut protects the brain. A neglected one endangers it. Mental engagement determines how well the brain resists decline. Learning new skills, navigating unfamiliar tasks, challenging assumptions, these activities build cognitive reserve. Reserve does not prevent pathology, but it delays symptoms. Two brains may carry similar levels of damage, the one with higher reserve functions longer. Curiosity becomes protection. Complexity becomes armor. Stress perception alters everything. Chronic psychological stress elevates cortisol, shrinking memory-related regions like the hippocampus. But stress paired with purpose has the opposite effect. Meaningful challenge strengthens neural circuits. People with a strong sense of purpose show lower dementia risk, independent of other factors. The brain protects what it believes matters. Alzheimer's is not a failure of memory. It is a failure of systems, energy, repair, rhythm, and resilience. And systems respond to input. The most dangerous myth is that prevention starts too late. The second most dangerous myth is that nothing can be done. Biology does not work that way. Risk is not destiny. Decline is not guaranteed. Your brain is not waiting to fail. It is responding to signals, right now. Signals of movement or stagnation. Nourishment or excess. Light or disruption. Purpose or drift. Memory is not preserved by chance. It is protected by intention, reinforced daily at the cellular level. And the most hopeful truth of all is this: the brain you have today, no matter your age, is still capable of defense, adaptation, and clarity. But it will only fight for you if you give it the conditions to survive.